Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Outriders. Today I desperately want to help my past self. The first things first, yes, the title is a touch salacious. You're okay. I'm planning on titling this basically how to stop raging at Outriders, or dying at Outriders, or just being frustrated with the whole nature of Outriders and etc. within the systems that we're currently having to exist in, i.e. world tiers and all that stuff. Now, just to get this as quick and straightforward to the point as possible, this is the key to strength and making this game a cakewalk is the crafting. You can do your best to not look at this and to look away, which I did because I was like, I'll wait until endgame before I start, dismantling things and really getting into it. Well, you should always dismantle things, but to really get into crafting, I was going to hold off. It's incredibly simple to understand, and it is incredibly impactful. First things first, mods. Mods are your gateway to strength within this game, as well as level and things like that, which we'll get into. We're going to get into a progression a little bit to some extent as well. Okay, so mods work like this. If you have a mod on your weapon and you break it down, you have it forever. Now you have like basically a copy that you can paste on anything forever. Okay? Cool. So break down anything that you don't already have. How you can tell you don't have something is if you see the top rate of weakened bullet, there's like this 4 squares in a box. That means I have this already. But if we go over to this legendary, in the top right corner, ultimate toxic bullet, a toxic shot every second, if I don't have that. There's nothing in the corner indicating that I have that. I do have Permutum Mobile. Whatever. Names, great. Love, why can it be unlimited toxic shot? So that's how mods work. I didn't know that. I thought mods were like you accrued a sum of mods that you broke down. No. You break one mod, you get it forever. Amazing. Fantastic. So yes, mods are fantastic. Break them down, and again, if you're just going through the campaign with your first experience, just break down just about everything. Keep what is somewhat good and move forward. But you want mods as much as you possibly can. And we'll get into like how you can actually attain power in a different way. In fact, let's do it right now. Okay, so one of the things I did not know, but it's incredible, is there is potential in every single piece of gear you get. The reason why is because I can click this, and if I go to improve rarity, I can bring this to purple if I want and get a new mod, which you guys can see back like down there. And that's a random mod, so that's another way for you to accrue high tier mods. Amazing. But this also gives massive value to these stats right here. Now if you guys don't know what the end game of Outriders is, which you can kind of start doing at a base, depending on how quick you define what you're going to be building your character for. And this is pretty simple. If you're playing, let's say, well, I'm playing the Devastator. Devastator doesn't have that many routes, unfortunately. He's pretty, I want to talk about it in the future and how you can kind of get by with the Devastator, because I think he is very much the weakest class, or at least a contender. Anyways, for me as the Devastator, in the way that I'm playing, in the way that I see the value in his skills, and that a lot of people from Endgame have also echoed that this is one of the only ways you can build specifically the Devastator. I'm sure if you're playing the Trickster, you have some avenue, or Technomancer, you have some avenue. But for the Devastator specifically, anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and status power are like the only thing you want. The reason why we don't have like close range damage here, although we do, because I didn't really know this at the time I leveled things up, but close range damage affects weapon damage, not your ability damage, which sucks because a lot of the Devastator's abilities are point fucking blank. So you thought close range would have made an impact. It didn't. Status, on the other hand, is huge. The Devastator, in my instance, can apply bleeds, and that just amplifies that status. Fantastic. So this right here, the stats on this piece of this glove are perfect. Not only that, but because of the nature of upgrading gear in this game, this blue can become a purple and it can be amazing. Not only that, but if I go down to level up, I can bring this up to level 40 with the addition of all of my resources. Which is why farms and like getting blue tier resources or green tier resources are so valuable, because every single time you break those down, you accrued a lot of leather. And you guys can see it's 1,000 to level this up all the way to 40. and I have 83,000. So it's not like, again, to do this constantly through the campaign is good, but try to create a set that is all feeding into the kind of same thing. So again, this is the kind of thing I'm running with. Ignore the close range damage because it's not perfect. But yes, it has anomaly power, amazing, cooldown rate, awesome, close range damage, let's not talk about it. Anyways, I thought regardless, same thing with this one. Anomaly power, and that was the only one I was able to luck out on, but the chest piece looks kind of cool, so we're dealing with what we can get. Our pants, just had really good mods, so I had to just deal with it. Again, status power is the only thing of value there. Again, if you can get all three in the right alignment, you're going to be in really, really good company. Again, cooldown rate, again, it's, I've been getting really unlucky with even blues. Like, yeah, you can get unlucky even with blues. But yeah, both of these gloves that I got here are fantastic. They have anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and status power. Those are the three attributes that me as a Devastator is of the highest possible value. If you really wanted to do like a Devastator gun build, you could just go for firepower, close range damage, use shotguns, and status, and maybe cooldown just to get healing consistently, and that might be able to survive. I do foresee them probably balancing some things with the Devastator, because it very much seems like everyone at endgame has a very specific way that you have to play them, and you can't really play them in any other way, at least for the Devastator. And that's, of course, the shitty guys I'm looking at the game for. So that is massive. That is modding. That is like the biggest kind of keys to power, so to speak, is every single time you break down anything, a legendary, anything. If you go to mods, you can see that tier 3 mods are basically mods that are acquired by breaking down legendary armor pieces, which I have not found any, because luck is the best. My luck is the best. But I have gotten a couple legendary weapons. So you guys can see that these are like the tier 3s. For instance, this one's pretty cracked. Golem Rising. Killing an enemy grants you protection of Golem for 3 seconds. Huge. If you have, like, I think if you have abilities that are tied to improving Golem, this also just constantly applies those, which sounds great. Anyways, so yes, that is modding. We can basically take any blue or any green. In fact, one of my people in my Discord were actually suggesting that whenever you have a green, just improve the rarity to blue, just to see if well, again, it depends if the substats are great. If these stats right here are fantastic and they're like, oh my god, it's a shotgun with close range, crit damage, and what a healing received or life leech, oh my god, and you're like, this is cracked, and it already had a decent like sub mod on it, then you're like, good, and then you can just layer on whatever you want. And that's going to be a fantastic weapon. And then at that point, if you find that, then just level it up to high hell, and improve the rarity on it, and then be done with. Now you have a for sure solidly amazing weapon. Like if I wanted to, I could take this shotgun that's level 35 and I could level it up all the way. But the shotgun is okay, but not great. Honestly, as of your skill tree and your abilities in class, it matters to some extent. Only to the extent in which, are you dying? Okay, well then maybe throw on some sort of way of healing. Oh, are you not dealing enough damage? Okay, maybe invest in crit rate and aim for the head. Vice versa, maybe get a shotgun with healing received, and just put all the damage you possibly can into your skills by getting anomaly damage or whatever it might be. So it's all about this weird scaling game. But there's so much hope for you in the fact, and it's kind of somewhat annoying actually, but even blues could potentially be the best weapon in the game with the leveling up system that they have at your disposal. Now you might be like, Grin, legendaries are the best. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna need to level up purples in order to even crack the surface on getting legendaries. And weirdly enough, legendaries are incredibly disposable until you get to the very, very highest tiers of this game. In that case, it can kind of be good because you can get like a tier 3 mod and then put another tier 3 mod on it because it's a legendary plus another legendary's effect, whereas normally it's like a tier 2 mod and then a legendary mod on it because of purples can't spawn with special legendary prefixes, right? But also, you gotta work for the substats as well. Substats are huge, and they can like make and break the weapon to some extent. Like this one has long range damage and I'm playing the Devastator. Feels bad. Feels real bad. But the weapon looks absolutely fantastic, so that's a positive. Looks crazy metal, all love it. And again, one thing I'm not mentioning is just the kind of minutia about everything. So for instance, there's like critical damage, there's skill, life leech. It lets your skills steal health for you. 3%, yes, that's okay, but Again, there is potential in everything. If you're a big caster build and you don't have any sort of healing method, then what you could do is you could take whatever that was. Yeah, so skill life leech. If the guys don't know about this either, this is very much endgame and not necessarily. Again, I want to make a video about this anyway, but well, I'll let you know right here. Essentially, every single time you break down anything that has substats like critical damage, skill, life leech, etc., when you break it down, you will accrue crystals. And you guys can see that I have a shit ton of healing received crystals because it's just not something I've wanted to invest in that much. I also have a decent amount of close range and just about everything at this point except for armor pierce and a couple other things. But essentially, we can use these shards that we've used for breaking down other blue tier weapons and such to actually infuse the base thing itself. So we can just keep buffing up to 1, 2, 3, 4 times of crit damage. That massively upgrades this to be a heavy amount of crit damage. And the same thing can be said for a life leech skill. So this thing actually can be really good and just suck a bunch of health out of an enemy for you when you use your skills. So that's pretty damn valuable as well. And yeah, that's like just the, again, kind of like the minutia, but this is something that's going to come in at endgame if you want to start. And again, if you find like a broken god tier blue and then you level it up to a purple and then you brought it up to your normal level, that way you're always having a weapon that's like on par, even better than the enemies around you, and you're like, fuck it, why wouldn't I not just want to upgrade this weapon's core stats, which are already amazing? They have crit damage, we have close range damage, and it's a shotgun, and it has healing lifesteal on it. Oh my god, this is amazing. Then yeah, why not just go and spend and make that weapon basically your weapon that's going to carry you through it in the entire game? I would just make sure that the weapon can perform and it doesn't have any sort of weirdness to it, because sometimes you get an assault rifle that says it does good damage, but for whatever reason it doesn't do any good damage, and it's maybe because it has a huge magazine, and it's just like, well shit, great, it says it has a crazy amount of firepower, but it's actually ass, you know. So yeah. One last thing, if you happen to get like a weapon that is set up in a way that you don't like, for instance, if you like shotguns but you hate the fact that you got a burst shotgun, or maybe you want this SMG that's supposed to be close quarters ripping people to shreds, but it's spawned with burst, all you need to go to is swap variant, and you can change the tactical thing of this. You can be automatic or it can be tactical, which you guys can see which changes the bullets over there for it being burst, but right now it's an automatic. And the same thing could be said for snipers. Snipers can either go standard, which is a burst shot for this automatic sniper, or it can be an automatic. And same thing can be said for the assault rifles. If we go to this swap variant, it can either be standard, demolisher, which I don't know what the difference of that is. Oh, it just increases the magazine size. Got it. Or it can be burst fire. So yeah, this can change that. So don't, if you see a weapon and you're like, oh no, it's not automatic. Fuck it. No. It can be. Same thing with shotguns. Shotguns have a different thing with slug or narrow. But yes, these are things that allow you to change the weapon. So don't be like, this weapon sucks if it's perfect, because you can augment that and it's pretty cheap as well. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, me here in post and editing. I wanted to tell you guys one thing. When you are upgrading your weapon, a blue weapon, say, level up to the max point and then convert it to a purple. You'll just save out on some materials that way. It's some nice advice and etc. Same thing for a green weapon. Same thing goes. You're just going to want to level it up to the max, your max current level, and then pivot it over to a purple, or a blue and then a purple. I'm hoping that you get a decent mod in the mix as well. Then you'll have to have the triple threat, great stats, a decent mod, and of course max level to your current level, which can help you out immensely. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the keys to power, so to speak. But ladies and gentlemen, I digress. This is something that makes the game, like this makes the world tiers things make sense with the addition of just spend your resources into leveling up these gear to your appropriate level, putting some decent mods on them, and only do that when you for sure have these substats in perfect alignment. Otherwise, you're kind of just investing in more or less a waste. But with that being said, every step is progression and can be valuable. But also, this puts a great deal of value on just farming weapons. Even if they're just trash weapons, they're building up your ability to level up new blues to purples, to see what the potential is, to find new mods. Because every time you take a blue to a purple, it gets you a random chance between a vast variety of mods, which is cool. And yeah, just leagues of potential for just farming. Farming in general gets you closer to success, even if it's only for your future self who finally gets a drop and then can invest in all of the perks and all of the upgrades and be good to go in that regard. But ladies and gentlemen, that is something that I struggled with greatly with Outriders, and I wish I would have known it right from the cuff, is that if you just even dabble a little bit in the modding situation and you just find a decent weapon and you keep that weapon topped off, that can carry you through the entire experience. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again, and goodbye.